Hey, it's Eric with Visualping. Today I'm going to show you how to set up page monitoring agents so you get notified when there's Pokemon restocks or when there's singles that you're looking out for that come back in stock at your local LGS, retailer, or even places like TCGplayer. Now, full disclaimer, I am using a tool in this case called Visualping, which is a place where I work, and so just so you know, there is an inherent bias there, but there's also other tools like Visualping that you can use to do very similar things. This sort of walkthrough is going to be using Visualping and tools like Claude Code, but you can use Codex and other LLMs as well. So, first things first. I have this product here that at my local LGS, it's always out of stock. I know from time to time it does come back in stock, but I'm never fast enough to get it. So what I'm going to do is set up a page monitoring agent using Visualping. It's going to monitor this page every 10 minutes, 15 minutes, hour, etc., depending on the settings I choose, using Visualping. In this case, I've gone to Visualping.io. I've created a free account. It's totally free for life, and it takes only about 2 minutes to do. Once I've verified my account, you'll log in and you'll see something in the dashboard that looks like this. So right now I have no page monitoring agents, no jobs working right now, but the first thing I can do is hit new monitor and then grab the URL of the page that I'm looking at. So in this case, this is for the Mega Evolution boxes. And then I'm going to copy paste that URL here, hit go, and now I've set it up so that Visualping is going to be monitoring this page. Now there's a couple of other settings I do need to set first. You'll see in the top right here, alert me when. So here's where I can set up a specific filter or purpose or thing to look out for the agent so that when that thing happens, I get notified. So in this case, I want to know when the boxes are back in stock. So I'm going to choose here the Pokemon Mega Evolution base set booster box comes available or goes out of stock. In this case, I just want to know when it's available. So I'm going to delete that last part. Now I could have written anything here. I'm just using the suggestions already provided for me, make it nice and easy. Next, I'm going to choose how often it checks. So in this case, I'll check every hour and then I'll hit start monitoring. So what happens is Visualping in this case is going to look at that page every hour. And then if that out of stock button transforms into add to cart, I'll get notified via email. And there's other options as well. You can use Webhooks, you can use API, which we'll talk about in a second, Google Sheets, SMS text, etc. So when this turns into back in stock, I'll get that notification. And it's as easy as that. So in this case, I can even go further. I can say, hey, only look at this part of the page here and hit save. And now it's going to focus just on that button that says sold out. And once it's flipped over to add to cart, I'll get that notification. Cool. So how else can I do this? Well, when you sign up for Visualping, even with the free account, if you go into the backend and you go into the developer spot, you'll see here what are called API keys. Once you go here and you can create a new key, you give it a name, and in this case you can sort of use the default settings, you're going to get an API key that actually is just for your account. And there's no limits on API key usage, but what you'll be able to do is go into something like Claude Code and actually add your API key into a .env file, or you can give it to Claude and it'll say, hey, I'll use it this time. After this, maybe we'll rotate it, and you'll want to add the key to your specific file manually afterwards. But for the sake of this use case, you can actually, once you've given that API key to Claude Code or Codex for Visualping, you can talk to Claude and tell it what you're looking out for, what you're monitoring for. So in this case, I'm going to say, I want to get notified when any new Venusaur base set foils in mint condition are added to TCGplayer. I can just add some language that says, please set that up in Visualping. I'll wait a moment. Claude will go and find that specific URL in TCGplayer, and you can always double check just to verify. but generally Claude does a good job. And then once it's sort of run through, it'll set up the settings kind of on your behalf and set up that monitoring for you, so that when you get that new notification, or sorry, when there's a new Venusaur added to TCGplayer, you'll get that email notification, just like if you had set it up in the Visualping dashboard yourself. So that's another great way to set up what we'll call page monitoring agents. Using AI, you've created an agent that now is going to be monitoring that Venusaur page on TCGplayer, very specifically for near mint foils, and then notify you when there's a new foil added. Now, a couple caveats. So you can use this, you could try this on almost any web page, Pokemon or not, other games, other TCG games that you might be looking at. From time to time, there are bot detection. So if a website detects your agent as a bot and you're blocked, Visualping stances that we kind of respect the website's decision to block a bot. If you feel like your page monitoring agent using Visualping was blocked in error, you can reach out to support and we'll look to help you out as best we can and see if that, if it's just a misconfiguration or something like that. But generally, if you're not sort of overloading a website and you're not trying to scrape data or anything like that, generally your bots are generally fine. But again, like I said, try to respect with any agent that you build using a browser or going to a website periodically, try to respect sort of their policies and their website infrastructure and usage, I guess, is the best way to put it. So Claude's still working away. I'll pause this for a sec and then let's take a look at what Claude's done after it's finished. All right, so we just need another second with Claude. It went into TCGplayer, it identified that there is both base set shadowless as well as base set unlimited or first edition foils. In this case, it sort of guessed that we're looking at base set first edition or unlimited, which is one listing, versus shadowless, which is another listing. In this case, that's fine. Let's, for the sake of this argument, let's say we're looking at the unlimited or first edition printings. And let's see what it did. So let's go into our Visualping dashboard. So you can see here, base set Venusaur Hollow, new near mint listings. Great, we did specify near mint. If we look at the job settings here, you can see that there are two filters, and there's a number of them in stock. We'll be looking at, I guess, just at page one, which is fine. This is sorting by price, lowest to highest, so if a new one does come in that's cheaper than the 149, or if it slots in the middle here, we'll get notified, which is great. That's sort of the idea. It's going to check every hour and looks good. So let's hit save there, no changes, and there you go, using Claude Code in this case, but again, you can use Codex or another LLM tool that you have access to. We've set up a page monitoring agent to look out for Pokemon cards. So like I said previously, I used natural language using the AI, and I chose the Venusaur, but you can use it for something else. You might have a specific set that you're looking out for, or specific pages that you typically buy from. You can name a couple of retailers and let Claude or Codex do the work of kind of finding the URLs, setting up the jobs in Visualping. You can tell it to monitor less frequently, more frequently. And using a tool like Visualping, there are no API credits or anything like that. There's also an MCP that you can use, an MCP plugin, and I'll put the instructions below, as well as a OpenAI app for Visualping that you can use as well. Really handy. One of my favorite use cases for Visualping, again, is just in Codex or in Claude Code, sort of naturally saying, hey, I'm looking out for this thing. Can you go set it up and monitor Visualping? Yeah. And then, depending on how your sort of AI is set up, you can add webhooks and things like that. All, again, webhooks available in the free Visualping plan that can do other things as well. Push notice into your Discord or into Telegram, things like that are also pretty fun too. All right, hopefully that was useful for you. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to throw them below or reach out to Visualping through the website. Again, that's Visualping.io, and have a great day. Happy shopping, happy collecting. Hope you catch them all. See ya.